Today's episode is about viewer questions. One of the biggest viewer questions that I get is, why did you decide to do a podcast? And it's an interesting story. So let me just take you back a little bit. I had just gone through a pretty significant breakup. I was very sad. And I thought, I need to do something about this. In other words, why was it that I was deciding to be with a guy that I knew was bad for me? Not only did I know he was bad for me, I knew that he was doing sneaky, underhanded things behind my back, but that's a whole nother podcast episode. So after the breakup, I thought, I need to figure out what is wrong with me. How did I get into a situation like this? So I went online. Most people do, right? I started researching, what is going on with me? Why do people stay in toxic relationships? Why does this? Why does that? Why? I thought, well, maybe I should really try to figure it out. Now, when I first got started in this, I looked up things like, can I be hypnotized to forget about this whole relationship? The answer is no, because there's too many factors that go into it. I thought, geez, if I could just have amnesia like they do in the soap operas, they wake up and they don't know anything. And that's so great. You can't just have amnesia when you want it. So I thought the next best thing was to just learn about it. And the only way to fix it is to just walk on through it. But how? Seeking help, professionals, educating yourself. I did not choose a professional psychologist, psychiatrist, or anybody that's in that realm of professionalism. I decided to do the next best thing, or at least what I think is the next best thing. I enrolled in school. I thought maybe I should just learn about it. And if I could learn about it in school, then maybe I can help others to never go through what I went through. That was at least my thought. So I enrolled in school, and the first class that I took was a behavior architecture class. And behavior architecture is basically about the construction of how behaviors work. I thought, well, that's pretty good. I'm going to keep going on. I ran into this class, and it was NLP Master Practitioner class. Now, NLP is Neuro-Linguistic Programming. What is this class all about? Rewiring your brain to think differently, to do differently. So the next class I took was the NLP Master Practitioner class. The NLP Master Practitioner class was pretty exciting. And the reason why is because they give you these things called modules. And these modules are training mechanisms for you to actually do the class. Because in theory, you are going to be teaching this. So you have to learn it and do it and experience it for yourself, obviously, before you can ever even teach it, which was perfect for me because why? I needed that. I needed it badly. I needed to focus on something. So I start doing some of the modules, and I find out that these modules are kind of hard, actually. They ask you these questions that are deep questions like, what did you do to contribute to the downfall of your relationship? What? I'm thinking, well, I don't know. I mean, I didn't think it was me. I thought it was him and his, I don't know, what would I say? Extracurricular activities. However, it makes you think. There were several times that I was doing these modules and I thought, wow, that really hit home. It really hit home. And it gave me tools to use to not be so sad. In other words, I was rewiring my brain to think differently, but not just about me, about the relationship, about everything. Because essentially I was trying to reinvent myself. Oh, but it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there. So I get all the way to the end. I thought, well, I'm not cured. And, I've rewired my brain. I did all these activities. I've had this um, self reflection. I've I've done the work. So what else could there possibly be? If I had neuro-linguistic programming and cognitive behavioral therapy, that those two things would go together to make me better, right? So guess what I did? I enrolled to be a cognitive behavioral therapy coach, CBT for short. A CBT coach helps you with different behaviors. It's more like a, say, behavior modification behavior, which I thought that was really interesting because, first of all, I'm reprogramming my brain by rewiring. And now I'm thinking I can help with my behavior because when you're in a relationship, some of your behaviors that you exhibit seem to mirror the other person. For example, they are very toxic. You start to become toxic. It starts down this road of bad types of situations. We'll get into this a little bit later in some of my other episodes, but back to why. Why did I decide to do this? So, quick story here. Right after the breakup, I went to go visit my best friend. And I was a mess, like everybody is after a breakup. You're a mess. It's not pretty. Nobody likes to be around you. You don't want to be around anyone. You don't want to talk to anyone, but sometimes you do. You want to cry. You want to laugh. You want to be sad. Sometimes you're happy. Sometimes you don't know what you want because it's just this, back and forth thing. I go and I visit her. And one thing we do like is George Michael. She says to me, she's like, let's watch this George Michael documentary. Awesome. So we watch it and she says, you are George and I'm going to be Andrew. And I thought, wow, that's kind of a cool thing, I mean, she's like my sidekick. She supports me in absolutely everything that I do. And I just love her for that. But what she did here is something spectacular. And we didn't even know it was happening until I joined my class. We started dancing. I know this sounds crazy, right? But there was a song that I liked. If you're gonna do it right. You guys know. Now, I'm not a singer. Obviously, I'm not a singer. However, that was my song that I really liked. She says, anytime that you're feeling kind of sad, anytime that there's something going on, we're just going to play this song. So whether it's 8 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it didn't matter. 3 o'clock in the morning, it didn't matter what time we would get up and we would dance ourselves silly. It would be in the living room, typically in the living room. Sometimes it would be just walking down the hall or dancing. It just kind of depended on what was going on. Here's the crazy thing that was happening. I associated my sadness with dancing. So here's what happens your brain starts to rewire itself. Anytime I felt sadness, I would turn on the music or I would tell her and she would turn on the music and we would get up and dance, be crazy, dance. And we would laugh at each other. Now, unbeknownst to me at the time, I was training myself to think differently about my sadness by rewiring my brain. This is called neuroplasticity. Now, neuroplasticity is being able to rewire your brain to think differently, do differently, see differently, all of that. But I was actually doing it and I didn't even know it. I had no idea that's what was going on. All I knew is that I was feeling better and silly and I wasn't near as sad. And that was huge to me. That heartbreak was going away. And we just kept doing it over and over. NLP is a lot about rewiring your brain to think differently. I was able to find something to rewire my brain that actually helped me. Now, there's a lot of different techniques that you can use, but I wanted to tell you about it because what dancing did for me is it broke that cycle that you start to go down of rumination. That's where you go through the thoughts over and over. If I would have done this, if I would have done this, if I would have done this, and maybe I should have said that. It's what you go through and then you get caught in this cycle and you just keep going on and on. And what happens is the music plays, you get up, you start to dance, and it takes that away. It's not possible for your brain to be focused on that at the same time that you're dancing and smiling and having fun and there's music playing. There's too much for your brain to be thinking about on your sadness part. And it starts to shift your mindset into something more positive. I came back home after that trip, and that's when I decided that I should enroll in school because I thought that I needed some more help. And if I could learn something, then I would teach other people. So I took behavior architecture, thought that was pretty cool. NLP, master practitioner, took a neuroplasticity course and became certified in neuroplasticity, which was pretty interesting. It's the plasticity of your brain. And it turns out you can really teach an old dog new tricks, maybe not the dog, but in this case, an old human some new tricks because it's really not about tricks necessarily. It's more about just teaching your brain to do something different, experience something different. Let me give you an example. Every single day you drive to work and you drive home. I'm willing to bet that you take the same way the vast majority of the time. Most people do. And here's the thing when you get in your car, you drive from point A to point B. Then you go to work, you do your stuff, you drive home from B back to A. That distance that you're doing every single day, you're not even thinking about. You're on autopilot. You're not thinking about experiencing anything. You're not in the present of anything. You don't really see much of anything because you've done this so many times that your brain doesn't even see what is going on out your windows. Now, maybe if a neighbor puts something up or somebody on the street puts up a new sign or something like that, maybe try this. Take a different route to work. Plot it out the night before, plot it out that day, put it in your GPS. Just take a different route to work. Now, let me tell you why this is so huge. When you take a different route to work, it makes you be present. What do I mean by that? Say you're driving, say there's a speed bump and your normal way doesn't have a speed bump. Well, you have to slow down. You have to have consideration going over the speed bump. You're also looking at the houses. You have different colors of houses, different styles of houses. Maybe they're even the same style, different yards, different people walking on the sidewalk, different things that are all around. So you're actually experiencing a whole new route but also in your brain. Your brain is taking in all of this activity when you're looking out the windows, when you're stopping at a stoplight, when you're stopping at a stop sign, when you're just driving. You're more aware. You're looking at the speed limit because you don't know what the speed limit is on that street. You knew what it was on the street that you always take, but what about the street that you're taking now? This is exactly what rewiring your brain is like. It's taking that old pattern of things that you're doing, and now you're creating a different pattern. It doesn't even have to be a pattern. It's more like disrupting the regular pattern. So now that you take this way all the time, if you switch to taking this other way, you'll form a pattern and you'll do that consistently. And then if you go back to the other one, you'll have to look at the speed limit and the houses and the things that are going on. And you'll notice those new things that are going on in the neighborhood. Oh, did you notice that this person put up this? This person put up this. Oh, wow, that's really cool over there. They painted their house. They put up a new fence. Wow. Right now, as you're going to work, you're not noticing those things because your brain isn't looking for something. You're actually teaching your brain to just keep in that pattern. In order for you to rewire your brain, you need to do something different, but your brain doesn't like it. Your brain likes the pattern of the day to day. And you have to teach your brain to like something different. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. It takes time. It takes practice. It takes commitment. It takes consistency. You have to keep on keeping on. So I got in this routine. I would get up and I would go to the bathroom. I look in the mirror and I point in that mirror and I would say, I am amazing. I am smart. In the beginning, you kind of don't believe it. But after a while, you're looking at yourself and you're like, damn, I am great. I am amazing. For all of you that have heard me speak about this before, yes, it works. Then I would go out and I would do my routine of get my own coffee alone, do work alone, everything alone while I was in class, retraining my brain so I could present this to you. I wanted to help other people because I know what grief feels like. I know what sadness feels like, guilt, regret, remorse. I know what they all feel like. And I figured if I can just help one person, just one, then that's a pretty great feat. Because I know at the time, my best friend helped me. She didn't even know she was helping me just by pressing play and by getting up with me and dancing and listening to my problems 100,000 times without throwing it in my face, but just being there for me, listening, the dancing. We didn't know it at the time, but that was rewiring my brain to think differently. And am I grateful? I am forever grateful for that. And this is why I wanted to bring this to you. I wanted you to understand what it feels like. I want you to see just a sneak peek inside my journey that I'm no different than you. I've gone through a lot of the same things that you have too. And am I on the other side? Not necessarily. Maybe over the heartbreak, yes. But, it's a work in progress. What NLP and CBT has helped is it's helped me help you. Yeah, that's right. Why did I become NLP and CBT certified? Because I thought I could make a difference in people's lives. And that's what I'm here to do is make a difference in people's lives. So for the viewers that have asked that question, how did you ever get into this? I guess the short answer is I got into it because I had my own heartbreak and I needed to learn to rewire my own brain to feel and think better and more clearly. That's why. But the long answer that I just gave you is the steps it took for me to do it. It doesn't happen overnight. So it's not like you're going to just miraculously wake up one day and you're going to be like, oh, geez, I feel so much better. No, it takes time, like everything. A little, a little, a little, a little. I hope you really like this podcast. If you do, please like and subscribe. I truly appreciate it. And as always, just remember where you are is where it's at.